We were going to go in and fix this barn up, and it was so rotted that we decided to rip the whole thing down.
For over 40 years, Tom Silva has been the person holding this old house together. Tool belt on, sleeves rolled up, no drama, just the work. But recently, at the age of 77, he finally opened up about the moments most viewers never saw. Moments that nearly pushed him out of the show altogether. And if you think it's just another retirement tease, think again. What Tom revealed wasn't just to catch the media's attention. It was a reflection on everything he's weathered, not just in construction, but behind the scenes where things haven't always been as picture-perfect as the renovated homes we've watched him build. There was a time years ago when Tom nearly walked away. Not because he was tired or done. Far from it. It was because the creative direction of the show had started pulling away from the reality of the job site, the filming schedule, the constant adjustments for camera angles, the pressure to make things look good rather than be good. It all clashed with what he believed in. So he quietly drafted a resignation letter. He never submitted it, but it was real enough that he sat down with his family and seriously considered life after this old house. What changed? The show listened. He didn't demand the spotlight or throw a fit. He just wanted to build things the right way, and they gave him that space. That's when Tom's role shifted from just the contractor to a central voice in how the show actually functioned. And that voice carried weight. But not every challenge was about production politics. In 2018, the show suffered a heartbreaking loss. Austin Wilson, a young crew member Tom had personally mentored and brought onto the team, died suddenly while traveling for a shoot. For Tom, it wasn't just a team loss. It was personal. Austin wasn't just a colleague. He was like family. The grief was heavy, and Tom considered stepping away completely. But after some time and with the support of the crew and Austin's family, he came back. Not because he had to, but because he felt a responsibility to the team, to the viewers, and maybe even to himself to keep going. That sense of duty is what's always set Tom apart. He doesn't build for the camera. He builds because he loves the craft. That authenticity, that commitment to doing it right is why the audience trusts him. And it's also why, during a time when producers were pushing to bring in younger, flashier faces, the team and the viewers pushed back. They didn't want to lose the guy who taught them how to hang siding or measure for a replacement window. They wanted the steady presence, the one who never chased the spotlight, but always had the answers. Over time, Tom took on even more behind-the-scenes roles. He wasn't only swinging a hammer, he was helping guide project choices, setting technical standards, and mentoring the next generation. That's how Charlie Silva, his nephew, found his place on the show. Tom didn't hand him a role. He tested him on smaller projects first, made sure he was ready. It was a quiet handoff built on trust and proven skill, just like everything Tom does. Now at 77, he's still out there, boots on, walking job sites, checking framing, making sure the work meets the standard he's lived by his entire life. He's not doing it for fame. He's not doing it for a farewell tour. He's doing it because it matters. Because the work still matters. And honestly, in a world full of fast fixes and cut corners, that kind of dedication is rare. Moving on, Tom Silva isn't just the guy you see swinging a hammer on camera. For years, he's basically been the backbone of every major renovation this old house has tackled. And when we say major, we're talking about projects that require blueprint-level thinking, structural decisions, and the kind of behind-the-scenes juggling act that would send most people straight to retirement. Tom's been in charge of everything from engineering and design consulting to picking the right materials and making sure it all works on TV without, falling apart mid-shot. And while his title may not be etched in gold anywhere, the team knows who's steering the ship. It's the guy in the flannel with a tape measure in one hand and a game plan in the other. Despite all the host changes over the years, from Bob Villar to Steve Thomas and now Kevin O'Connor, Tom's been the one constant. Like your favorite worn-in tool, he just keeps working, keeps showing up, and somehow never rusts. His role gradually expanded from contractor to guy who makes sure the whole thing doesn't fall apart, professionally and literally. When Norm Abrams stepped away in 2022, it was pretty clear that Tom wasn't just one of the team, he was the team glue. the producers didn't just keep him on. They asked him to help shape the projects, plan the season schedule, and supervise the builds. Because when you've spent this long doing something right, people eventually just say, "Okay, yeah, you're in charge." Now, from 2021 through 2025, if you've watched a season, Brookline, Westford, Ridgewood, odds are Tom had his fingerprints all over it. Not just in the woodwork, but in the project planning, the safety setup, even down to making sure the crew's equipment could handle both sawdust and HD cameras. And unlike most people on set, Tom's also had the rare authority to pick his own successor. Of course, he didn't make that decision in a week. Nope. True to form, he tested the waters first. Charlie Silva, his nephew, started off slow, smaller projects, quieter roles, and only after proving himself did Tom gradually bring him into the spotlight as the lead builder. Nothing flashy, no family handouts, just earned respect, Silva style. But Tom didn't stop at Charlie. He's also been the go-to guy for helping other specialists like Morrow with finishing, Jen with landscaping, and Heath with electrical. Basically, if it plugs in, grows roots, or needs a second coat, Tom's probably checked it twice. And since 2020, he's taken on even more, working with local trade schools and this old house's Generation Next program to help train the next wave of skilled workers. He shows up at forums, sits on advisory boards, and still finds time to demo tools for kids who haven't quite figured out the difference between a level and a lunchbox. What's wild is that in a world where shows swap out cast members like socks, Tom stuck around, steady, sharp, and always in demand. PBS surveys show he's one of the most beloved figures on the network, especially among longtime viewers who've been watching since disco was still a thing. But his appeal isn't just nostalgia. It's that rare combo of know-how, patience, and the ability to explain complex projects without ever sounding like he's showing off. That's a skill in itself. Before Tom Silva became the face of craftsmanship on national television, he and his brother were just two guys with a toolbox, high standards, and zero tolerance for sloppy shortcuts. Their company, Silva Brothers Construction, didn't rise to fame by doing quick fixes or chasing trends. They built their name the way they build houses, level, solid, and with everything squared up. Their reputation for meticulous work eventually caught the eye of some pretty big names, including WGBH-TV, which trusted them to build the set for the Victory Garden. That's right. While other contractors were busy fixing decks, Tom was laying the foundation for what would become one of the longest-standing careers in educational television. That job turned out to be more than just another gig. It put Tom on producer Russell Marasha's radar. And before you could say, "Where's my level?" he was called in to help on a new little experiment called This Old House. Tom came in as a subcontractor on a Greek Revival renovation in Dorchester, Massachusetts. But it wasn't long before people realized this wasn't just a guy who knew how to swing a hammer. He had the rare gift of making tough jobs look easy and complicated fixes sound like common sense. In 1988, he was officially locked in as the permanent contractor for the show. And honestly, no one's even thought about replacing him since. Over the next 40 years, Tom became a constant in a world that rarely sits still. Hosts came and went, hairlines receded, and tool technology changed. But Tom was always there, calmly managing one challenging project after another with that trademark steady hand and no-nonsense approach. His fingerprints are on hundreds of renovations broadcast on PBS. From quaint colonial homes to massive historic restorations, he wasn't just building houses, he was preserving legacies, one beam at a time. One of his most memorable challenges came in the late 90s at Wetherb Farm in Westwood. Picture this, an ancient timber-framed home with a sloped roof that looked like it could collapse under a heavy sigh. Tom and his team had to find a way to reinforce the structure without losing its historic charm, kind of like doing orthopedic surgery while keeping the patient looking runway ready. He pulled it off, of course, because when others panic, Tom pulls out his pencil and starts sketching solutions. But his influence goes far beyond the job site. Tom's also spent years turning his hard-won knowledge into something people can actually use. He's a regular contributor to This Old House magazine, answering questions from readers who probably bit off more drywall than they could chew. His advice is straightforward, practical, and thankfully free of jargon. He writes like he builds, clearly, solidly, and with just the right amount of "you've got this" encouragement. His work also found its way into classrooms. Trade schools across New England use his tips, techniques, and how-to breakdowns as teaching tools because, honestly, if Tom says this is how you install crown molding, then that's how it's done. In 2004, he co-authored Complete Remodeling and the Homeowner's Manual, 2 books that sit proudly on every serious dyer's shelf, right next to the coffee-stained blueprints and the bag of screws they swear they'll sort someday. Tom Silva didn't just walk onto a set and become a household name. He earned it. One project, one column, one hard conversation at a production meeting at a time. He built his career like he builds a house, brick by brick, with patience, skill, and absolutely no shortcuts. And at 77, he's still on the job site. Not because he has to be, but because he wants to be. No retirement announcements, no grand exit, just another day doing what he loves, helping others build confidence, and probably making a few younger guys wonder how he still works circles around them. Let's be honest, you probably thought Tom Silva was about to hang up his tool belt and call it a day. Stop thinking. In a chat with internal production earlier this year, Silva basically said, "No, I'm still in." He confirmed his staying on board for future seasons. Yes, still diving into those massive renovation projects in places like Westford and Ridgewood. The man doesn't just renovate houses, he renovates expectations. But hold up, it gets better. While you've seen him on screen swinging hammers and dropping wisdom like it's drywall, he's also been quietly pulling strings behind the scenes at Silva Brothers Construction. From 2022 to 2024, he kept a strategic grip on the company's big-picture decisions, even while passing the managerial baton to his nephew, Charlie, who's probably still triple-checking everything before showing Tom. Tom may have stepped back from the day-to-day grind. But don't be fooled, he still shows up for strategy meetings, gives the final nod on top-secret high-stakes projects, and picks technical crews like he's casting a heist movie. No pressure, Charlie. You thought he stopped making the big calls? Please. When it comes to resource allocation, equipment upgrades, or whether to buy that shiny new excavator, guess whose opinion still carries weight? Tom's. As senior advisor, translation, wise builder wizard, he gets to keep doing the cool stuff without being buried under paperwork or chasing down invoices. That's what we call a win-win. Oh, and he's not just busy building houses, he's building the industry. Tom serves as a go-to guy for multiple trade associations across Massachusetts. Because when the Northeast Regional Council for Building and Remodeling needs to upgrade safety standards or improve training, who do they call? Not Ghostbusters. They call Silva. The man helped create a technical database for independent tradespeople. Basically, if you're holding a nail gun in Massachusetts, odds are Silva's had a hand in your how-to manual. And guess what? Some of the updates to post-COVID construction codes in Boston? Tom helped shape those, too. He's not just keeping up, he's rewriting the rules. Literally. So, how is he juggling all this at 77? 2 words, organized chaos. Okay, maybe 3 more, experience, wisdom, coffee. Tom's got this sweet setup where his work is spread across production, engineering, mentorship, and consulting. It's like a renovation show meets think tank meets leadership seminar. Basically, he's cracked the code on how veterans can keep contributing without crashing into burnout. And the man behind the magic? Tom's always been a pretty private guy. No flashy red carpets or scandalous headlines, just him, Susan, his wife since the late 70s, and their cozy 19th century home in the Boston suburbs. Honestly, it feels right. While others chase fame, Tom's been quietly building something stronger, a legacy with good bones, and honestly, we wouldn't have it any other way. Tom Silva's home isn't just where he lives. It's a labor of love. Over the years, he and his family have rolled up their sleeves and renovated it bit by bit, turning it into a kind of quiet masterpiece. It's the kind of house you see in this old house magazine, not because it's flashy, but because it's smart, intentional, and built with heart. Now, while you might expect his kids, Kate and TJ, to follow in his tool-belted footsteps, they've taken their own path. They're not in the construction or TV world, but when the family business needs support, especially in media or finance, they're right there behind the scenes, helping things run smoothly. Tom's home, as it turns out, is kind of a physical version of his entire approach to work. Preserve what matters, upgrade what makes sense, and always build with purpose. That's exactly why he was invited to speak at a historic renovation conference by the Massachusetts Council on Historic Preservation. He shared how he approached his own renovation, focusing on sustainability, keeping the original character of the house intact, and making smart use of space. It wasn't just a renovation. It was a thoughtful reinvention. In fact, the project was so well done, it's now officially listed in the state's architectural archives as a prime example of non-commercial restoration done right. But here's the thing about Tom. He doesn't seek out the limelight. He's known for keeping his personal life private and his public work focused on education and craftsmanship. According to his team, he's the guy who says, "Let's keep it about the work, not about me." That's been the policy since 2005, and it's one of the reasons people respect him so much. He's not interested in celebrity status. He just wants to do good work and help others do the same. Behind the scenes, Tom is also quietly involved in something incredibly meaningful. He works with non-profits that help young people, especially those from disadvantaged backgrounds, learn vocational skills. He's not splashing it all over social media or doing interviews about it, but you'll find his name in their annual reports, listed as a professional advisor. What does he do exactly? A little bit of everything. Helping them figure out what tools they need, reviewing training programs, and sometimes even showing up in person to demonstrate techniques. In the trades world, Tom is more than just a well-known builder. He's a mentor, a role model, and a voice of reason. People still look to his standards as the blueprint for how to build safely, efficiently, and responsibly. And that's really what sets Tom Silva apart. He's not just building houses. He's helping build futures quietly, consistently, and always with integrity. It's kind of amazing when you think about it. Tom Silva's work is now literally part of the curriculum in some technical high schools across Massachusetts. Students are learning how to build by watching clips from this old house, using his projects as case studies. That's how trusted his work has become. Not just TV-worthy, but classroom-worthy. And here's what makes Tom really stand out. He's never tried to become a celebrity. You won't catch him at glitzy home expos or doing commercials for power tools. He's not chasing sponsorship deals or trying to turn his name into a brand. That's a conscious choice. He's always said no to the noise so he can focus on what really matters, the work and the people who do it. That's rare these days, isn't it? In a time when everyone's trying to go viral or build a following, Tom Silva is still out here building homes, teaching people, and staying true to his craft. He's proof that you don't have to be loud to make a big impact. His quiet consistency and deep integrity have made him not just respected, but admired. He's the guy who shows up, does the job right, and never cuts corners, and he's been doing that for decades. People in the trades look at Tom and see more than just a master builder. They see someone who embodies what it means to take pride in your work. Someone who understands that it's not just how you do something, but why you do it that way. So, yeah, while trends come and go, Tom Silva stays. A solid presence, a true craftsman, and honestly, a reminder that in a world obsessed with shortcuts, doing things the right way still matters. If you've ever appreciated the smell of sawdust, the sound of a hammer hitting just right, or the satisfaction of a job well done, then you already understand why people like Tom are worth celebrating. And if this kind of story speaks to you, maybe pass it on. Share it with someone who knows the value of good work and good people, because sometimes the quiet ones leave the biggest legacy.